All right, my friends, we are here today to talk about how to get smarter with reselling by not paying fees. Yeah, that's right. Nobody likes fees. I am what I would like to kindly refer to as a frugal flipper. And that means that I don't like to pay fees and I like to save money on fees whenever possible. So today I want to talk to you about how I personally avoid paying fees in two different ways. It's kind of a third, I guess it would be a third bonus way. It's not really avoiding fees this third way, but it at least helps. It cuts down on it a little bit. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to get right into it. Grab your notebooks. The first way that I avoid payment processing fees is by using a company called CurePay. So I actually have a little bit of a story about this. It was one of those like, this seems too good to be true. You're not gonna sell me on like some sort of a scheme kind of situation, but turns out it wasn't a scheme. And I'm so glad I signed up because it has saved me tens of thousands of dollars in fees. And I'm not over exaggerating. Tens of thousands in fees. Of money. So what is CurePay? CurePay is a payment processing company that is in every single state. I was actually approached by a representative here in my local community. And I thought that he was just going to end up being a rep like Clover or for Square. I mean, you know, the payment processing software that has the POS systems where you have the register, you log things in, you swipe credit cards, and then, oh, I can give you the best rate. Nobody can ever give you the best rate. As a matter of fact, I was told by Square that they would save me at least 1% on fees if I hit $250,000 in sales in a quarter, which I did. And then they just never called me back. Thanks, Square. So CurePay showed up at the right time. And what CurePay is it is a software for payment processing that allows businesses to basically give cash discounts. And then if a credit card is used, the credit card processor actually collects the fee from the customer rather than the merchant. And I'm really hoping that I described that right because I know that what they do has to be explained properly because it can get very, very confusing. If I explain it poorly, you're not really going to understand what they do, how they do it, and how it's beneficial. So I will absolutely leave their website down in the video description if you want to go click and read up or maybe reach out to your local rep to see if you can get some questions answered. But basically what this software does is I am able to give my customers a cash discount and all of my prices in the store are a cash price. And then if a customer wants to use a credit card when they check out, the credit card processing company actually charges the processing fee to the customer rather than taking it from me. That means if a customer spends $20 with me, I get $20. I don't get the $20 less the credit card processing fees. I personally think that CurePay is a game changer for anybody that does any sort of selling, and it's not just for registers, which I do have a POS that they run all of their software on. I basically rent it from them every single month, and that's the only thing that they charge me. It's just my equipment rental fee. That's it. I don't pay any credit card processing. It's amazing. But they don't only do registers. They also do invoicing software. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of stuff that they can run their payment processing through. They have handheld devices. So if you're doing something like a flea market or if you have a farmer's market booth or something, they actually have a handheld device where you can process cards and you get to keep 100% of what you charge. That credit card processing fee gets passed on to the customer, not you. Just think, how incredible would it be if you had the ability to send invoices to customers or swipe a card and get to keep all of that money? Not all of the money, less a 3% charge or a 10-cent transaction fee. No, you get to keep all the money. And that also means that it is a major incentive for local customers to pay with cash, because if they pay with cash, you get to keep all of the funds. If they pay with a card, they do pay a little bit more, but you still get to keep all of the funds. Same thing with invoicing. When you invoice something, you get to keep all of the funds. The payment processing fee is collected by the payment processor from the customer. They don't take it out of the total amount deposited. Hopefully all of that is making sense. But they're just a wonderful company to work with. I am so glad that I switched. And like I said before, they saved me tens of thousands of dollars in payment processing fees. The first year that I had my store open, I was using Square because that was just, the payment processing software that everybody used. I had used Square before. The Square registers were kind of pricey, but not that expensive. I had, the 2 Square POS systems. I had the handheld, the mobile unit, and I was just content paying my 3.3% plus 30 cents. I think at the time, maybe I was paying 2.9%, so I was saving just a little bit. But I was doing so much business at the store that I literally paid $23,000 in fees my first year. $23,000 just went to credit card processing fees. There was no incentive for anybody to use cash. Everybody was swipe happy with their card. But now that the store is an official cash discount business, there is an incentive to pay with cash, or if they choose to pay with a card, I still get the same money. The customer just has to take care of that fee. And I know that there are still some states that do have this legal gray area. Kansas is actually one of them. That's where I am located. I am in Kansas. I know that the Kansas Supreme Court did rule it as unconstitutional to prevent businesses from collecting a surcharge to cover their credit card fees, but it still hasn't been completely wiped, or the law hasn't been officially changed yet. It is this legal gray area right now in the state of Kansas. But what makes CurePay awesome is that I don't have to worry about that because I am not collecting a surcharge. That's where the legalities of it come in with a lot of these states. Business owners are not allowed to collect a surcharge. Well, I'm not collecting anything. The payment software system that I am using is actually the one collecting it and retaining it. I am not getting a penny of it. Therefore, it is completely allowed in my state. So again, I don't know if I'm explaining all of this correctly or not. I'm just explaining it from the perspective as someone who has used this system for about, oh my goodness, it's been almost a year and a half now. Year and a half of saving money. They've probably saved me like 30 grand at this point. I'm serious. But I plan to look into their invoicing system because here coming up, I'm going to start invoicing people. There's also a handheld terminal that I plan to use on the go because yeah, the registers are big and bulky. I'm not going to use the registers when I no longer have the store. I am just going to use like the handhelds and use it for invoicing, but they're a fantastic company. I'll leave all of that information down in the video description below. Unfortunately, I don't have any referral codes or anything. This is absolutely not sponsored in any way. I just personally use them. They might have some sort of a referral program. I'm kind of unsure. So possibly if you contact them, let them know that I sent you. The second way that I avoid paying any reseller fees is I sell a lot locally. And I am not talking about my store. That's not what I'm talking about. I have avoided reselling fees for years selling locally. A lot of the times when we watch YouTube videos and we learn about reselling, we think about e-commerce because e-commerce is kind of the selling giant. You can sell from home. You can use different platforms that already have all of this traffic on it, like eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, Mercari, all these sites. And now Whatnot. There's all of these sites, but all of them charge a fee. And the reason why they charge a fee is because there's already all of this traffic on the sites. But don't forget, you can sell to people and avoid paying any fees if you sell local. So if I'm not talking about my store and I'm talking about selling local, what exactly am I talking about here? I'm talking about selling on Facebook, whether it is marketplace or with your own personal business page, which the last video that I just posted on my channel was a crash course in selling on Facebook using a Facebook business page. I'll link it down below or up here in an iCard somewhere if I can remember to actually link it. I'm talking about selling in Facebook buy, sell, trade groups. I'm talking about posting on Craigslist, in classifieds. The classifieds still exist. Talking about selling at flea markets, at farmers markets, about having your own freaking yard sale right out of your garage. I have met so many people at this point that sell locally And it's such an amazing way to avoid fees. Because think about it, if you're not processing payments online, you're not paying any platform fees. At most, if you're taking cards instead of cash, at most, if you're not using something like CurePay, which after that awesome pitch I gave you, how could you not? Even if you didn't want to use a system like CurePay and you wanted to just eat the fee for your customer, you could use Venmo, you could use PayPal, you could use Cash App, you could do Square invoicing, you could use Clover invoicing, you could do all of these different things and only pay around 3% in fees. 3% is way, way less than any online selling platform. And lest we not forget, cash. When you sell locally, you could do cash transactions and there's no fees with cash. There's no fees with cash. If you do want to accept cards and you have some sort of a card reader and you're using like a Square swipe or you're invoicing or you're just having people send you a quick Facebook pay, there's lots of ways that you can get paid for a very, very small fee if you don't want to do cash. Or you could do exclusively cash. You could do whatever you want. It's your business. But hands down, the best way to resell and avoid all fees is selling locally. Get creative. I know technically if you're at a farmer's market or if you're at a flea market, technically there is a fee because you have to pay a booth rental. But depending on how much you sell, that may or may not exceed what you would do if you were selling online. But if you want to avoid selling on Facebook Marketplace, selling on buy-sell trade pages, if you want to avoid doing things like the Facebook business page or a flea market or a farmer's market, my absolute favorite way, if you just took all of those out, if you were just like none of those other options exist, the best way to sell is a yard sale. I'm telling you, I would make bank doing garage sales, like bank. So what I would do, and I have a few old videos. they're old. I'll link them, but they're old. I'll link them down below. I would do yard sales or garage sales, whatever you want to call them. And I would basically take the items that either were just sitting around on eBay not selling, or maybe they weren't good for eBay because the shipping cost was too high, and I would just blow them out at a yard sale. I would make thousands of dollars in a morning. Like I would open up at 8 o'clock, I'd be done by noon, and I would have like 3 or 4 grand. And no fees. That's what this whole video is about. No fees, no fees. Never underestimate the power of a good old-fashioned garage sale. And when I would do my garage sales, I would do them kind of like I do my store, just like a flat price. Everything is the same price. That way you don't have to go through and like price each individual item because that's a lot of work. And the third thing, which is not exactly avoiding fees, but it's kind of helping pay these fees. The third thing is to charge shipping if you're selling on eBay. And again, I know I just recently did a video talking about this, but I want to elaborate on what I mean. Because here's how charging shipping on eBay can actually help you with those eBay fees. Because when you charge shipping calculated by the buyer's location on eBay, the customer actually pays the retail shipping cost, and you as the seller pay the commercial shipping cost. So that means that if an item weighs 15 ounces, the customer might pay you $6.30, but eBay only charges you $4.50. So there's almost $2 in overage there that the customer has paid for shipping that you didn't actually pay for that shipping label. So therefore, that extra, $1.80, if I did my mental math correctly, that extra $1.80 can go towards those eBay fees that you're paying. And another suggestion I have regarding charging shipping on eBay, which this is probably going to be controversial, don't come at me, is to add to the shipping tier to help those costs a little bit more. What do I mean add to the next shipping tier? For instance, if you're shipping something that weighs 8 ounces, maybe bump it up to 12 ounces or 15 ounces in the calculated shipping portion. So it might only cost you $3.50 to ship it, but the customer paid $6, which gives you a little bit more wiggle room to help with those fees. Is it a moral gray area? I don't know. I mentioned, doing a couple of things before, and in the comment section, you guys talked about morality, being a decent seller. And while I do agree with that, you need to be honest with your people. You need to not, mislead your customers. You need to be completely forthcoming. I completely agree with all of that. Be a good person, be a good seller. I understand all of that. It is not going to hurt anybody to add a little bit of your shipping weight in there to make that go up a little bit. I know you guys are probably going to think I'm a horrible, horrible person after this, but I do that a lot. If I have something that weighs 4 ounces, I say it's calculated based on 8 ounces. So the customer pays a little bit more in shipping. That means that overage can go a little bit to helping towards fees. And this is the part where I say, I have been a seller for almost 2 decades. I've been a seller for almost 2 decades. I've been on eBay almost 2 decades. As someone who has been in the selling game for a really long time, every dollar counts. Is that extra $1.50 that your customer paid for shipping going to hurt them? Maybe not, but it can make a big difference in your bottom line if you're shipping 10 packages a day. If your customer's paying an extra $1.50 a package and you're selling 10 packages a day, that's $15 a day. That's $75 a week. That's an extra $300 a month in revenue, just from every single customer paying an extra $1.50 per package when you ship. So bumping your customer up to the next shipping tier and having them pay just a little bit extra in shipping can really, really help out your bottom line. And you're not ripping anybody off. Your customer knows how much they're paying before they pay. A customer knows how much shipping is going to be charged before they even check out. So you're not being a dishonest seller. You're watching your bottom line. You're being a smart seller. That's all I have to say about that. What did I miss? Let me know down in the comments below. What ways do you save on fees? Really curious. Because as I said, I'm a frugal flipper. I like to pinch pennies and save where I can when it comes to reselling, for sure. Let me know down in the comments below. What ideas do you have? If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and ring that notification bell. That way you're notified whenever I post a new video. Don't forget to check the video description. I always put a lot of useful information in there for you guys. And again, I appreciate you being here and watching. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up before you leave. The YouTube algorithm really loves it and I love you for it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.